Five accidentally profound missed opportunities in Demons of the Punjab. I had to take out some content from the video review of the Demons of the Punjab, as I had done the commentary on clips from the episode. So I had to take them out. In a way, that worked out well because now it allows me to dig into these five things specifically. Before saying this next part, I want to add a disclaimer. I'm no supporter of Hindu nationalists, and I'd be thrilled if the lot of them burned in hell. The comments that follow are in no way an attempt to excuse Hindu nationalism, which is a huge problem in India and an ongoing threat to Muslims here. In several places, ethnocentricity and cultural ignorance make for some interesting moments in the episode. Mistakes are accidentally profound in the sense that if they had been done right with insight about the circumstances, instead of simply blundering into them accidentally, they would have actually provided much deeper insight and provided a palette of grays for the partition. There isn't a single British individual who's portrayed as the bad guy. No Muslim is the perpetrator or victim of violence, and every single Hindu to be portrayed is either evil or dead. There are no Muslim extremists, and the partition of India happens for mysterious reasons. All the deaths in the episodes are of Hindus and by Hindus. The biggest tragedy of the partition was that to varying degrees, everyone was a perpetrator and everyone was a victim, and everybody was traumatized by it. Basically, you had a country that had been ripped into two countries on the basis of religion, and countless millions of people were being uprooted from their lives and going to live somewhere else. It was not a normal situation. There was a complete collapse of social sanity, so to say. Law and order had collapsed, yes, but also humanity itself had collapsed. Estimates of the number of deaths vary, with low estimates at 200,000 and high estimates at 2 million. The worst case of violence among all religions is concluded to have taken place in Punjab. Virtually no Muslims survived in East Punjab, except in Malerkotla, and virtually no Hindu or Sikh survived in West Punjab. This was a traumatic time, and I think the episode fails to understand this. It takes it as a story of, one country got split into two, there was a lot of violence without actually understanding the nature of that violence and what it did to people. I think there are a few mistakes that the show makes, which actually would have turned it into a better story if they had been done and explored on purpose. Because as the show stands, it really does nothing at all. I mean, the doctor comes there, they witness a situation, they change nothing. I mean, they come to a place of unimaginable tragedy and they do absolutely nothing. They just see what happens and then they go back. It's rather a pointless episode. Even the villains are not really the villains, they are also just the witness. Nobody actually does anything. It's like a sightseeing tour of history, and the history is wrong. So you'll have to see the other video for all those issues that I bring up. Over here, I just want to look at the five things I spotted that could have improved the episode. The first is Yaz's character.
I want you to have this.
Get it fixed if you like.
It must never be fixed.
Why not?
I don't want to talk about it anymore.
If you don't tell us, we won't know. Your life's our heritage.
Just for an hour. See you from a distance. What's the point in having a mate with a time machine if you can't nip back and see your gran when she were younger?
At no point do any of this lot consider that they are actually invading the privacy of a woman who's probably been through some or the other experience which she does not wish to share. It should have been Amreen's right to conceal or reveal her history as she wished. At that point, she's really a very underdeveloped character, and that episode doesn't do much to develop her in spite of it focusing on her. They had the dots, but they did not connect them. For example, Yaz's response to the grandmother giving her the watch was to immediately demand that the doctor take her back into the past so that she could see for herself what her grandmother had refused to reveal to her. I think this was accidental in the sense that the writers did not understand the implications for privacy. I don't think the writers deliberately wrote Yaz as violating her grandmother's privacy. I think they just did not realize the implications of that. What they wanted is a trigger to go into the past, and they used it in the form of the watch. But this could also have been done deliberately. Yaz is also a policewoman. And they could have connected this with her role as a police person, where, finding information on a situation that is not clear is almost an instinct. And that instinct often clashes with the right to privacy. You always have law enforcement needing more surveillance and citizens pushing back for privacy. Since this series had also rebooted, claiming to look at issues of human rights and social justice and so on, it would have been a brilliant opportunity to take this subject up, which they had already put that dot about her being a policewoman. They had put this dot about her violating her grandmother's privacy, even if it was unintentional. All they had to do was connect the two, and they could have created so much more depth to that character. The second missed opportunity that I see is the cross-border wedding, as I call it.
This is the spot you choose?
I'm going to be the first woman married in Pakistan.
Of course you are.
He chooses the spot at the boundary with her standing in Pakistan and Prem standing in India. Now, this is accidental. The writers just wanted that melodrama of the doctor being there and sort of taking down the rope that signified the boundary. But the boundary happened. It's the bloody partition of India. Taking a rope down is not going to erase the boundary. It did not have much meaning rather other than just creating that, temporary spectacle, so to say. But the opportunity here was to see how nationalism seeps into people. Where Ambreen is in a interreligious love relationship with Prem. Ambreen is Muslim, Prem is Hindu. They are in love, they want to get married, which presumably means that they would be sharing a home. But yet, when she visualizes them, she doesn't even visualize them as belonging to the same country. She stands on the Pakistan side of the border because she wants to be the first woman married in Pakistan. But rather than the entire wedding taking place in Pakistan, she puts Prem on the Indian side of the border. This is actually very profound. And it also conflicts with other established characters. For example, Umreen's mother saying,
Pakistan. Today, India is officially cut into pieces.
Prem speaks about
Home to all of us. We didn't change when a line was drawn.
Ambreen is the daughter of her mother, and she is in love with Prem. But when she's deciding the place of her marriage, she's sold on the idea. She goes and stands in Pakistan. She's excited to be the first woman to be married in Pakistan. And her husband is Hindu. Therefore, he has to stand in a different country to make that marriage special and significant. This is so profound because it just shows how easily people bought into that idea that they were separated by religion. Even when they were marrying across the religions. It would have been so amazing. And in many ways, it would have also reflected the conflict of those people in those times, where their neighbors were suddenly people, foreign nationals. Even when they seemingly oppose it, how all these prejudices are so all-pervading. It's not like, people are islands in a sea of bad things. Everything is affecting everybody, influencing everybody to different extents. And it would have been a lovely way to show all those layers where you can love a man, but also believe he belongs to a different country because he belongs to a different religion. Similarly, there is an echo when it comes to Prem. The kiss after he gives her the watch.
This is us, forever. Our moment in time.
This culture is not into, these public displays of affection kind of a thing. We just don't. We don't kiss each other on the lips and while other people can see. What happens in the privacy of your bedroom is a different matter. But Husbands and wives, in most cases, while people can see, will at best hold hands. Romance in old Hindi films was more shown as two people sharing an umbrella in the rain kind of a thing, walking together, watching a sunset together. Green was Hindu. Would he still have kissed her in full sight of her family? Because in such situations, see, it's never the man's dignity that's in question, it's always the woman's. So, in a way, it's also saying that he does not care how she is seen by people who know her, if she's just being kissed in front of everybody. And would he have done the same if it was a Hindu woman and he was among people he knew, and if he was among a Hindu community, would he have done the same thing? It is an important question to ask, because in any conflict, women often become targets of sexualized violence, sexualized threat, uh, general, even sexualized insults, intimidation. So, the minute you have two sides, very often the softest targets are women. Wherever there is war within the population, women are the most at risk. In the partition of India, there were tens of thousands of women who've gone missing on both sides of the border. They got kidnapped, they got raped, they got bad things happened. So if we look at this context about the treatment of women across religions, and we look at Prem's treatment of Amreen, which is so completely uncharacteristic for that time period, I think this is a question worth exploring, that this man died to protect her, but did he actually respect her as he would have respected a Hindu woman? How did the sadhu die? Just a quick note here that Prem has his gun with him and there's no apparent cause for the sadhu's death. So we see them find the dead body of the sadhu with that purple substance, whatever it is, on him. And they believe it is that substance that killed the sadhu. Later, it is revealed that Manish used Prem's gun to shoot the sadhu, to kill the sadhu. How do they know this? They know this by the 13th doctor being told by the Thajarians. At the same time, they don't actually see any blood on the dead sadhu.
Holy man. Bhakti. Umbreen and I asked him to bless
I
us.
think that's what they used to kill him, some sort of fast-dissolving poisonous dust.
He doesn't read like he was poisoned. I don't understand.
So Prem had his rifle with him. So Manish could not have used it since it was with Prem. And the sadhu did not have any evidence of a gunshot wound. So whatever the Thajarians had told the doctor could not have been right. Now, this is a scripting mistake, okay? They simply carelessly wrote that Manish shot the sadhu because obviously he's the nationalist, he's the bad guy, he's opposed to the wedding, so that's what bad guys do. They did not, I don't think they realized that this was a continuity problem because a sadhu had not been shown as shot dead. But since that mistake was already made, it would have been an opportunity to give some depth to the Thajarians, who are literally nothing. I mean, they're sort of seen to be intimidating and significant, and the doctor thinks they're assassins, and then they're just like, they're nothing. They're just witnesses. They don't do anything at all. They just go and watch people die. Instead, it could have been an opportunity to explore what happens when an entire culture of assassins turns into peaceful people who are now witnesses. Do all of them turn peaceful, or did one of them actually kill the man and told the doctor that Manish had done it? Because, yeah, well, the doctor would believe, right? If the Hindu nationalist killed him, the doctor would believe it because they're the villains, right? It would have been a wonderful opportunity to show how people's prejudices can be used against them by an actual villain. And it would have given the Thajarians something to do at least. And also not made them such a monolith. Like all Thajarians were assassins and now they are all the good guys, or rather pointless guys, not even good guys. Not like they save anybody. So it would just have added some more depth over there. And if you must have an alien, at least give the alien something to do. And the final one, the doctor not saving Prem. I think this is a huge blunder.
His time is soon.
How soon? Give him a day. Just give him this day, please.
The doctor is apparently no longer a Time Lord and needs the Jarians, who are little more than witnesses, to tell her that time can't be altered, and she just accepts it.
Everybody knows that everybody dies, and nobody knows it like the Doctor. But I do think that all the skies of all the worlds might just turn dark if he ever, for one moment, accepts it.
Why? Why would I give her my screwdriver? Why would I do that?
What have you done?
Saved her.
Prem dies today. We can't let that happen. It has to. For Umbreen to become your nanny, for you to exist, Prem has to die. I'm sorry, Yaz. We should leave. No.
They're checking their land for people who don't belong.
My baby brother. What happened to you? Pompeii is a fixed point in history. What happens, happens. There is no stopping it.
Says who?
Says me.
What, you're in charge?
Not this time, not yet.
Not the whole town. Just save someone.
Come with me.
We will watch over him now.
Go back. Go back to your lives.
You were the Doctor on the day it wasn't possible to get it right.
But this time,
You don't have to do it alone. It is done in the name of the many lives we are failing to save.
Be a doctor.
never cruel or cowardly. Never give up. Never give in.
Come on.
Prem had to die. At least it didn't have to happen in a way that sort of showed them deliberately letting him die. When they could have acted, but they chose not to act. I think that's as good as killing him. This is so much not the Doctor. I mean, if you're being a role model, what are you being a role model of? That people in mob violence are just supposed to die and there's no point helping them? You do not interfere with time, and if they're supposed to die, just watch them die, let them die. That's a pretty not role model. Instead, they could also have shown one more person dying. You know, Amreen's mother could have died trying to help Amreen escape. One, it gives the Muslims something to do, other than just, just be there. I mean, they aren't even shown particularly at risk because they get away well in time also. There's literally nothing relevant to the partition going on with them, apart from them having to. And what could have happened is after Amreen's mother dies and Amreen is then left alone, right? And she has to escape because all these Hindutva thugs are there behind them. The Doctor and Yazs and all, they could have sort of rescued Amreen and taken her perhaps directly to Sheffield or at least somewhere, Lahore or somewhere safe from where she could have made her way to England in the future. And then Amreen could have possibly guessed, how do you know all these things? What is this box you are traveling in? What the hell is going on, kind of a thing. And somehow discovered who Yaz is. And there she's heartbroken over losing her mother and losing Prem. The situation is completely hopeless, which the partition situation was. Lives were so terribly damaged. People lost everything. They lost their homes, their belongings, their money, their loved ones. They lost everything. It was a time of despair. But seeing a granddaughter would have given her, hope that things will eventually turn out all right. And given her the strength to sort of, continue with her determination to sort of go to England and create a new life for herself. And it would have given some purpose for Yaz and the Doctor to go back in time and do all this. I have no way to rescue Graham and Ryan in this episode. I don't know why they came, and I don't know why they were included in the episode at all. I mean, if they must invade the privacy of Yaz's grandmother, at least don't take two strange men there to watch it as well. So they should simply have been omitted, frankly. But I'm not talking about the things that could have been done. I'm simply talking of the things that were actually done. Like they let Prem die. So they could have handled it differently for more depth. So it would have been better to give them something else to do when that happened so that they could not have saved him. So these are the 5 things basically: Yaz, the cross-border wedding, the kiss, how did the sadhu die, and if you must save Prem, then sort of handle things differently so that the doctor and Yaz and Graham and Ryan are just standing there and watching him die, kind of a thing, and worse, walking away just as he's about to be killed, not caring. 4 of them there and none of them right to interfere or do anything at all. That's just plain terrible. So anyway, these are the 5 accidentally profound missed opportunities and demons of the Punjab that I found. Thank you for watching. Please do leave feedback because I'm still new to making these videos.